What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Water Pod, man. Tonight I got a very special guest. You know, I'm your host, Waterboy, but I say host lightly right now, man. I'm with the master of the ceremonies, man. The MC, the GOAT of poetry shows in Charleston, man. The Speak Freely Foundation. I mean, the boxing gym. What else do you want from this guy, man? He's always been a force in this industry, in this scene, in this town, in this county, in this state. I mean, the real host, my boy Los.
Oh man, cut it out, man. Such a gracious intro. Like, nah, man, that was so dope. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. You know, like, hey, I'll be real with you. That's all we do is be real on this podcast. So, this is the first time I redid an intro because my first intro just wasn't even on par with who this dude means to the scene, to me, to. By the end of this, you'll see what I mean. You know what I mean? Like, Los the host, man, he's always got great energy. I've had his date double circled, stamped, no erases since I booked this guy, man. I've been just so ready to get on here and talk with this dude, man. He's so much fun. He's such a inspiration to me. He's always believed in my talent. So anybody that believes in your talent, man, they leave just a mark on your heart that just can't be erased, man. It's just I'm very appreciative and grateful to you, bro. I swear, man, I am, bro. And not just that, I'm a fan of yours. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting here talking about me and the opportunities you've given me, but I'm also just a fan of yours, man, because I think some people get wrapped up in you being the host and they forget that my boy goes in, so that's real dope, man. So without further ado, man, this is Los the host, man. Where'd you grow up? How'd you grow up, man? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
my podcast is all about trying to shed light on who you are behind the hosting, behind the business, behind the boxing, behind the poetry, the art, like all that stuff, man. Who are you? You know, so I'd like to know, like, where'd you grow up? Are you always been from South Carolina, or how'd you grow up? Was it?
That's a great question. Well, first of all, let me just say I'm so grateful to be here, and thank you for inviting me on the show. It's fucking dope.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
No doubt.
Thank you, man.
But yeah,
people like you make it possible, man. I will say that.
Cut the shit, dude.
Yeah. But get it
Can
on.
I curse?
Nah, dog.
Right?
Yeah. Do what
right,
you do, bro.
So to answer your question, I was born in Naples, Italy. My father is from Bolton, Mississippi, and my mother's from Baguio City, Philippines. So I'm 50-50, half black, half Filipino. It's a prison tattooed across my stomach that says half black and half Pinoy. Let you know, or people that do know what the word Pinoy means, or have been, in certain predicaments.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what it is. So, other than my father being from Mississippi and my mom being from Baguio, my father, what you say, retired from the military. And the military is how they met. So the military is what made me. The military is somewhat of what made me. Of course, it was my parents, but the military gave my father an opportunity to go to Naples, Italy, and leave the country of the United States and live abroad and become a military soldier and live that life. Well, he met my mom, drop dead fucking gorgeous Filipino ass woman, fucking badass, dude.
Yay.
Damn, when he saw, of course, he fell in love. It's a black man, never seen anything other than, maybe perhaps, I don't know really, because we don't really get along, but maybe he only seen racism and maybe he only seen black people, but he fell in love with this brown skin tone Pacific Islander woman. And that's how I came into existence. And, they say that some people say that you actually choose your mother and your father, that you come through as a portal to come in this existence.
I like that.
But that's just, I would like to say that's another portal. That's a portal to another podcast.
Yeah. We don't have to get too far off on a tangent.
Right.
Yeah,
So I grew up in Ladson. So I was born in Naples, Italy. Grew up in Ladson, South Carolina. DTL ho. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Downtown Ladson. And from there, I went to elementary school and middle school and high school in North Charleston, South Carolina. and from there, it was a short-lived type of thing. Like I grew up kind of fast because I grew up in like foster care and group homes.
Right. Well, look, like I don't, not to cut you off, but
Sure.
I know that we've spoke before about this, so I don't want you to just gloss over this fact.
I sure was
about-
about to too.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I was a bad
And I
kid, but
know
yo,
that-
check this shit out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And so I definitely want you to, you can finish however you'd like to finish, man. It's your time. But coming up in foster care, I definitely want you to touch on that because you never know, man. There might be a kid that's going through what you're going through. So I don't want you to just gloss
Wow,
over
yeah.
it too quickly. Like, how was foster care? You know what I mean? Like, how did it feel to feel like? Because I didn't come up in foster care, but I can only imagine that you probably feel like some rejection or like, you know, you said you and your father don't get along, but and it's and just in the first 5 minutes, I feel like you're very appreciative of your mom and you're talking in high regard of her and you're and so so how was that? Like, did you ever feel like unwanted or did you feel like what helps you get
Good
through
question.
it? I guess because we're about growth on this podcast.
Good
so.
question. Great
Yeah.
question, actually. So yeah, growing up in Summerville, South Carolina, being bicultural, being half black and Filipino, 50-50, you know, grandmother on my dad's side from Mississippi still had the burlap sap. That was there's a picture of her. It was a 5-foot long burlap sap where she worked the cotton fields. And no, slavery wasn't around or nothing or whatever, but that was her occupation.
Yeah. It's
So,
still going on. Like, we still
dig it.
got to get cotton. We still got to get
Dig it, absolutely.
Right.
You know, we still got to go to the Congo and get battery shit.
cobalt. Come
Oh,
on. I thought we
man.
weren't going this deep, bro.
I'm saying, bro, like this is where we at.
Wait, we going to the Congo? Because, bro, all right, let's go.
For real.
No,
That's
no.
real shit. So and it's kind of like history repeats itself, you know, whatever. But with Carlos, specifically, it was really, really a very, very harsh upbringing. My father was an abusive alcoholic, and my mother was just during, you know, pretty beautiful ass woman, and she wasn't even from the country, so she was somewhat subjugated or trapped,
Right.
Because the dude went to Italy, got her, married her, and now she's in a whole another body of ocean away from her home.
Right.
And she wasn't even in her home when she met him. She was in Italy. My mama
Yeah.
from Baguio City. Like, I still can go. I still have, you know, I think like there's people there that are like that are still connected to the family. But of course, majority of them have already came out now. Since
Well,
my
that's got to
father-
be, but that's got to be like a crazy thing too, because you said like she's a whole ocean, like an
Yeah.
ocean away, like, but not only an ocean, like a culture away, a morals away, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So it's like, and not only that, like she's married and entrusted herself into someone in another culture from another time, from another thing. So,
Damn, that's
she's-
crazy that you say that.
Right, because
So-
she's like learning her culture in this new culture. She's learning it from someone that might not have
from
the best.
someone else's perspective.
Right.
So that's very, very good that you say that, because when we think about other people, we really don't put the shoe on the other foot. We really don't live out there. You know, we really don't see from their eyes. As much as we try and be the empath and try to see through their eyes or try to feel what they're going through, we really can't. So my mom it was so fucking crazy, but she had to come here with him. When she did, she knew then that regardless if he was physically abusive or not abusive at all, she'd have to love him. Win, lose, or draw.
Right.
Because he is the golden ticket, which in turn made her the golden ticket. Because everybody back in the Philippines running around with no shoes and no socks, no running water, no AC. Meanwhile, my mother has the American dream.
Things.
Well,
Yeah.
let's say the American dream,
Right. Which, yeah.
which ultimately comes with abuse. Well, let's say, I mean, and I just say that lightly, but in any form of, you know, I don't want to say capitalism, but any form of living an existence abroad from where you come from, there's certain sacrifices that you're going to have to make.
Right.
So her sacrifice was, you know, not only crossing over many bodies of oceans to reside and sit here, stick here with him. But she had to endure a little, some, let's say, some backlash that she didn't know. But nobody knows what's happening. You're just living life.
Right.
So when I came into the existence, I still, it had to have been somewhat turbulent because I have some type of frustrations that I don't know where they come from. And I'm just like, why the fuck am I mad at this?
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm trying to just be a cool dude. I just want to be me. That doesn't really bother me, but why am I so mad? Mm-hmm. And I don't really know why. But coming from two different cultures where two different things are, I don't want to say somewhat the same, but it's like, they're living in two different existences. Like, she's a Pacific Islander and he's from the main body of America, where his mother is still rocking the burlap sack, and then her mother is fishing in the river to get food
right.
for the family. They can't, like, there's not a, the Filipino peso is like 55 to $1. So if I have $2, I have over $100 in PI right now. So back then, I'm not sure how it was or whatever, I'm sure, inflation or whatever, but my Lola still converses with me about situations of like World War II and shit like that. I'm like, I don't know why I'm so mad, but I'm mad.
Yeah.
So it went through mom, and then it went through, and mom and dad combined, and now it's in me. So I'm not like, so it was kind of hard for me to grow up in Charleston, South Carolina, specifically Ladson, growing up in Somerville, because I wasn't accepted by the blacks and I wasn't accepted by the whites. And there wasn't a large enough Asian community for me to be accepted either. Right. So what I did was I just made the best version of me. And all I could do was really sharpen myself and put myself in a position where I will not be like my mother. Mm-hmm. To where I will not put myself in a position where I can, I'm only benefiting somebody else. I'm being abused and I have to take the abuse, whether physical, mental, verbal abuse, whatever, in order to have a certain type of living.
Yeah, in order to just survive. Not even flourish.
I didn't even say survive. I didn't even think about that. But survival is what what made me.
Right. Well, I see that in you, but I also see that, like, you touched on some key points there that I try to use in my life. Is like, I'm proud of I'm from where I'm from, mm-hmm. like you said, like. And whether astrally I chose my parents or consciously or subconsciously or in the ether, whatever, fine. But I'm not. I constantly look at, like, what parts of my mom do I need to correct in me, or what parts of my father do I need to correct in me, or my siblings or my friends. Like, I hate to use the word use, but I use my people and my family, my friends, people around me. I use them positively and negatively, in the sense of, like, I take their negative attributes and I try to figure out how to not do them. I take their positive attributes and I see how they do them. And so, like, right. That's how I build upon. So that's very cool to see that you notice and recognize that with your mom or your dad, like, you're trying to progress upon, even, and I think a lot of people need to do that. It's like, just because your parents were here and maybe they made some mistakes and stuff, like, you still gotta, like, whatever the baseline is, just make yours better. Make yours better, like. Yeah. That way your kids, and I think me and Dusty talked about this too, but it's like your goal is to, like, I want my son to have a better father than I have, and I want my son to be a better father than I am. I want to be the best dad I can be, but I'm not going to
what you strive to be.
Right, I strive to be, but I'm not going to be the best father.
Right, none of us will
if there is.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to be the best father, but I'm hoping that, like, I can be better than my dad, and then my son will be a better dad than I am. Mm-hmm. And if I can instill that in him, or my daughter too, like, I hope she's a better woman than her mom, and her mom's a great woman. I hope she's a better person than me, and I I feel like I'm a good person. I have a lot of people tell me I'm a good person, but
Yeah, they can just be like, oh.
I don't even know if I feel like I'm a good person most of the time.
They
You know
just
what I
see you
mean?
singing on stage,
Yeah.
you know. It's like,
Sometimes I feel like a terrible person, but
Right.
but I do but
We
I
all
do
do, I
feel
guess.
like at the end of the day, like I'm definitely trying to make a better way for my kids, and I hope they make a better way for themselves. So I'm glad that you opened up about how you came to be and all that stuff. Like I hope that if there's what would you say to a kid that's in foster care that just feels like
Wow.
the world is crashing down and like I can't even
It's a
emote
great
the
question.
feelings because I'm not a foster kid, so
Yeah.
I would rather you just emote the feelings. But what would you say to you whenever you were in that situation, if you could have that person, like what was the one thing you needed to hear, I guess?
Wow. So that's a great question. And the one thing that I really, really needed to hear was that somebody other than me believed in me. It wasn't, like it wasn't necessarily a recognition from my mother or my father, because I guess at this point when I'm in foster care, they already disowned me. I'm already, what my grandma say, my Lola would be like, we're gonna well, she would tell me of disowning in the Filipino culture, and that's how I would feel. That's how I felt, disowned. So I was a young kid, didn't really know what I did, and I would get into certain troubles that would permit my father to let them take me away, and my dad's the one that ruled the relationship. So like right now, literally to this day, I feel like if my dad told my mom to lie down in the middle of I-26, I feel like she may contemplate that shit. I don't know if she would do it, but she would at least be like ponder, like maybe fuck it, like
Right.
because the culture of the Filipino people, the women specifically, their husband is their king. So regardless if he send you in the battle and on the front line, bitch, you got to die.
Right.
And that's just the kind of kamikaze mentality that people have. I don't want to say that they're in survival mode, but in certain cultures, if you found a golden ticket, you're gonna do everything to fucking keep it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like like you said Filipino, but I feel like Asian culture, and I'm no one to speak on it because I'm not Asian, but from my perspective, like I used to have a really great friend of mine who his mother was Korean and his dad was stationed in Guam or somewhere that he met her, or maybe he was in Korea, but he met her and they married and the same kind of thing. Like in Asian culture, I feel like women are taught and culturally to be submissive, but I hate saying the word submissive because whenever they have the right partner, it's a beautiful thing.
Right. It's not being submissive.
It's not
it's
being.
actually it's like in
yeah.
harmony.
It's a
Yeah.
yeah. It's a symbiotic relationship where
Right.
both people grow and feed and
Right.
love off of each
Right.
other. But
The real ultimate power anyway, like in every culture and everything, is the woman.
yeah,
The woman is
100%.
what brings life into this world. So
Yeah.
so even though the woman is submissive in the Asian culture, the men that are in that relationship know that the woman really runs it. And the
Yes.
woman really doesn't have to
Well,
speak.
that's what I mean. It's like I think people stop at women being submissive and
Don't
they
think about
forget
the
that
men are the real ones that are the submissive
They're
ones.
being submissive too.
They want the
So,
pussy.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yo, hey, baby, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Please let me chop.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
trying to let me
But
put
it's
the
like
head in.
it's deeper than that as well because like a real man understands that like a woman can do so many things that he can't do.
Right.
You know what I
and
mean?
that's even
And-
without the pussy. Like
Yeah, yeah.
a woman is such a beautiful creature and such a beautiful part of the human race that I want to say that in the beginning the woman had both chromosomes Y and X, so she could make both male and female reproduction without a male sperm to fertilize her egg.
Okay.
So I mean, like the woman is like, man, I love women so much, and I love my girl too. And I respect all women, and that's one thing I feel like we should also do as men. We should just kind of, we gotta let it be known, man. You gotta respect the goddess. You gotta respect the woman.
100%. But
Black,
I
white,
think that
Asian,
like
whatever. You
in
know
this,
what I'm saying?
and in this day and age, like sometimes it's frowned upon. Well, I don't even have to say I think sometimes, because it is, because like for instance, American culture, men are always like, oh, you gotta ask your wife to go golfing. You gotta ask your wife to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we get on to each other for being submissive, and then the same type of culture happens with women. No matter if it's Asian or American or whatever, it doesn't matter. The whatever, what, it doesn't matter. It's just that like we all get belittled and messed with for being committed and submissive to our counterpart.
Right.
You know what
in
I
any
mean?
relationship.
And so like to me, anytime like we talked about this earlier, but I say we because we're all humans, but anytime we feel that something is right, we, even though we know it's right, we just like for whatever rebel against it. And we're just like, it is right to respect your spouse. It is right to
Absolutely.
appreciate them and be grateful to them. And it is right to make sure that they're okay with the choices you're making and not just making them out of like, well, she ain't gonna do nothing about it.
Or even just talk to her about it and let her opinion weigh in on your decision.
Right.
It is a two-part system, and with the capitalistic country that we live in, we got to have more than one source of income. So her opinion matters.
Yeah. Because
You know
I
what I'm
remember
saying?
like I see that a lot too, where people are like, oh well, people were like back in my day, like women would stay home and take care of the
Yeah.
house and the kids and all that, and like, and you'll see traditionalists are like, oh well, and then the other people are like, well, I mean, we both have to work to afford the place, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Some
Like
women
if
are
you
still
look
out
at the
there,
Brady
though.
Bunch's house,
Yeah.
like that house right now is like a $10 million house. But back then they probably got it for like 30 grand.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
that was a
like,
different time.
dad could go to work and
Yep.
like, I don't know, like the percentages, like the percentage of your mortgage now is like, you're probably paying 50% of your income just on your mortgage or your rent. And back then it was like you're paying 15-20%
Right. Right.
on your rent.
Yeah.
So,
That's crazy.
but it's dope to hear where you came from, because like I've always known you as a super passionate, and you're always happy, which I really like. And I feel like the happiest people had just the shittiest hand dealt to them when they was coming up, and maybe that's why, because you've learned to like that sadness, and I hate that this is true because I'm kind of like this too, but you've learned that like sadness and crying and doing and whining and moping it doesn't help. You know what I
Right,
mean?
it
Like
doesn't.
my daughter, if she was here right now, she'd tell you, because like anytime she cries, I'm like crying doesn't help. I tell her all the time, and she's like, "Dad, don't say that." I was like, "Well, it doesn't. Like, all it does is make it worse. Honestly,
Yeah.
it makes it hurt more. Like,
Right.
you could just move on, find a solution or whatever. You know what I
Move
mean?
on.
Like,
Talk to a 7-year-old. Just
yeah,
move
yeah,
on.
Yeah.
Stop freaking
But I'm not
crying.
telling her like, yeah. I guess it sounds bad. I mean,
I'm
that's my
saying.
daughter. Like, I just
No,
like, yeah,
yeah,
baby,
but
it's
no.
okay. But I try to tell her like, just like
You
you,
know,
don't have to
yeah.
like, crying is not gonna help your
Ever.
situation.
No, ever.
So yeah, but I've always known you as an empathetic person, man, and somebody that's got a lot of passion, and it's like.
Yeah.
People would call you like happy-go-lucky, but I don't think you're happy-go-lucky. You're happy-go-hard. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like you go hard with the positivity. You go hard with the happiness. You go hard with the joy, and you find the gratefulness in every situation. So that's like super dope. And
Thanks.
yeah. So we talked a little bit about your upbringing. So I mean, I'll
Oh,
bring
one
up,
more thing before
yeah,
we get off
Go
that.
ahead.
Another thing to all foster kids out there, man, is
Thank you. Give it to them.
belief in self. Believe in yourself. And that's the greatest achievement of men or women.
Yeah.
believe in yourself. It is great to have one other person have faith in you, like I said earlier, but it starts within you, and you have to believe in yourself first.
Yeah, 100%, man. Well, I think like I'm glad you said that. I think that will tie into your role as a boxer, as a boxing coach, because you fought your way from the bottom and you believed in yourself. And I think like for those that don't know, man, Los is a boxing coach, and after this, hit him up if you got kids
Oh
or
yeah.
you yourself want to learn some things, man. He's always doing something great with kids, with adults, with people, just teaching them how to defend themselves and how to fight their way from the bottom like he did. So,
Yep.
would you say that like your upbringing is what led you into boxing,
Yeah,
or
so that's a
did you
that's,
have like a friend or somebody? Or
no, it was a great segue. So I was an abusive child. My father was in the Navy, black man. He was always alcoholic. So the first thing he would hit on was me. And eventually I was just too smooth for the shit. You know what I mean? I would dip and dodge, and then I would eventually intervene with him hitting on my mom, and then I would take the hits for her, and just so he can get, because it seemed like the dude had a fucking, he had like a thing where he just had to hit something. It's like he didn't want to hit a punching bag, or he didn't want to hit the wall. He wanted to hit like somebody's flesh. And I'm thinking what it was on some real shit, was just the transition from American life to Vietnam wars, military, being sprayed with Agent Orange, things like that. The mistreatment of the black soldier versus the white soldier. A lot of that shit kind of came down into the black household, within my household, from my father, and I think that once when I was going, he was the one that was sending me to foster homes. I wasn't really a bad kid, because like I was always. Well, I say that because my report cards reflect it. I stayed on A, B honor roll, fucking straight hundreds and all that shit, and he would make up some. I'd get into a fight. I wouldn't let him hit me, and I wouldn't let him hit my mama. So he'd call the police, and we'd get into it. And then of course, then by the time they got there, it looked like a scuffle. So then he would be able to say, "Take his ass the fuck off."
Yeah, it's to kind of set you up, right?
So
well, I mean, maybe like
so
I feel like if I had him right here right now, and I asked him like how he was, because I feel like and I'm not trying to like
sure.
be a contrarian or feel like but I feel like hurt people hurt people.
Yeah,
So like
it's a saying.
it is a saying. It's a yeah. And I feel like it's true a lot of times. So like I know you said maybe it had to do with the war and stuff like that, but it's very possible that just like his pops beat on him. His
Oh
pops
shit. That's
treated-
crazy that you say that.
Yeah.
I've never met my grandfather.
Okay,
I've
so
only seen one picture of him.
yeah, and I'm not trying to like in any way minimize your plight or what you
Yeah,
went through.
sure.
But I feel like if he had the opportunity to talk to talk
That's
freely
crazy.
like you're talking and feel
Yeah.
like and talk like he probably wouldn't be all the way truthful with the way he treated you. But if you asked him about what happened to him and he was real about it, I bet he was hurt and he was taking it out on y'all. And
Yeah, like
and
that's all he knew.
man. That really sucks. And like like we're all every time somebody has a kid ever, like we both have children, right?
Yep.
Anytime you have a child, it's your job to break cycles.
Yeah.
And
Or
like
break the chain.
And yeah, there's like so many cycles that you have to break, so many curses, so many chains
Yeah.
and bondage that you have to break
Yeah.
of generations and generations and generations. And like it sucks because I feel like that's the real difference in like people who are quote unquote privileged is that they just have so much less bondage and generational trauma and things to break that they can spend more time like me and you and our traumas are different, our lives are different, but pain, despair, bad things happening to you happen to pretty much everybody. But I feel like when you have to dig from the bottom and you have to like fight your way out and you got to break through all these holds, it's like you spend the first 20 years of your life trying to break holds instead of spending the first 20 of your life trying to like build up a education, build up your business, build up everything
or just
else.
experience life.
Yeah, so if you don't have so many traumas and holds on you, then you can focus on like positive
stress.
And,
being not stressed, and the less stress you have, the higher your vibration. So
got the good vibration.
That's right.
Yeah, let's go.
And that's us as humans. You know, we kind of live on a certain frequency, and just like every existence that you ever known or that you want to know or not know, all you really have to do is tune in like the radio station, and you could become that millionaire. Or you could become that CEO of the company, or you could become the great entrepreneur. You literally just have to tune in and find that frequency. So, and that's a hard lesson to learn and to actually accept and, you know, chew up and digest, because when you're told from, you know, let's say conception, not even birth, not even, it's literally inception, conception, when the nut hit that egg. And you know, if the dude is abusing your mother, you know, you're being told right then and there, you ain't shit.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So imagine when you have to crawl out of that, and then you come into an existence. You're crying, you know, and the doctor smack you, and you still crying. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, why am I being beaten since the fucking what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, shit,
well,
dude.
I like what you said about
don't smite me. All the goddamn smiting. What the fuck?
Smiter, no smiting.
Right, like, right. Shit.
But yeah, I feel like I really like what you said about frequencies, because I feel like what you said about like tuning in, like that's 100% true. And I think where a lot of people fall flat or have troubles is because like you ever like tried to, and like kids might not know this, but there used to be like a tuner on your radio, and like you might still
dial,
like a little dial, and you could like, you literally had to like turn it until you caught the frequency, till you tuned in. And I think a lot of us like, and that's what social media and pretty much all of media does to us these days, is like they try to put us in the in between. And like, I don't know, like this is going to be like old people talking, but whenever you would like get between a station and you might be hearing like the Braves game on one, and then like Marvin Gaye is like singing background for the commentator for the fucking for the national for the World Series,
right,
you know what I'm saying, and you're listening,
they're fusing kind of,
right. So like I feel like media and stuff tries to do that to us. They try to get our frequencies like semi-tuned into this, semi-tuned into that, so you don't ever get fully tuned in and focused to something. And that's like that's what I felt when you said like frequencies and stuff like that. Like you could tune into like being a lawyer, but you literally have to like tune in. And I think that's great advice for somebody like to get back to the boxing thing, is like you gotta tune in. Like even like lawyers, doctors, like all these basketball players, like boxing is one of the most frequency used tuning in things of all time, because you
gotta be tuned in.
Yeah, we have like you have a circadian rhythm. That's what it's called, like the way your heart beats, and the way you fight, and the way you talk, and the way you think. You know what I'm saying? So you really gotta like tune in, and like I feel like the best boxers are so tuned into themselves.
Oh yeah.
And
everybody,
the atmosphere.
Yeah, they command it.
Right.
They kind of manifest it.
Yeah,
like from Jack Johnson all the way to Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
And beyond.
Yeah.
It's really, so, you know, boxing wise, I grew up boxing in the streets. Like my father used to always try and hit me. He would actually hit me all the way until I got tired.
Is that what like made you want to be a boxer, or
no?
It was just like no.
I just wanted to be able to defend myself, and defend my mother, and defend my sisters.
Yeah.
I didn't want nobody doing anything wrong to them that they didn't want done. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like hell, if she wanted to kiss you, she'd let you kiss her. but motherfucker, don't try and kiss her if she doesn't want you to touch her.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Back the fuck up.
Yeah.
So I'm a protector. And the old African proverb or whatever they call him, Shango. He wasn't really a fighter. He wouldn't go to the wars. He'd stay to the village and he'd teach the young men how to protect the women. He'd be the protector of the village when all the masculine raw men went to the 300 Spartans. You know what I'm saying? When they left, they had to keep a dude there. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to say I was him, but I'm definitely a protector. I'll fight definitely when I have to. I fought always when I wanted to. And I took a couple losses or whatever, but you know, the losing was really the kind of the perspective of me, because every motherfucker that I fought, they fought me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you just, it's like you got a scar or a broken bone or some shit. And I didn't win all the fights. But life is a contradiction and life is a conflict. So you got to be able to roll with the punches and swim without not getting wet.
Yeah, 100%.
And
100%.
Boxing was just a thing of me as a therapy.
Yeah.
I didn't like being hit, specifically by my father, so I would dip and dodge and move. And then whenever I get into the fight, it's not like that I seen my father, like it wasn't no Bobby Boucher moment where I'll, what I'm saying? Where whenever I got into a fight with somebody, it was always mama, nah. Or, but it was definitely, I didn't like being touched.
Okay.
I didn't like men touching me specifically. Mm-hmm. Not because I was sexually abused, but because my dad beat the shit out of me.
Right.
Like there was no I don't want to say soft masculinity, but there was no accepting masculinity. So well, now my son 14, I accept that he sometimes doesn't think. So I sit him down and I'll strategically attack that.
Right.
Hey man, why you ain't think about that way, man? You know that been dumb up.
Yeah.
And I get some thought provoking, and I get some thought, some thinking involved in the process of why you should do that or why you should not. So I didn't get that.
I like that you can like balance that, because I'm 100% like not. I'm not a fighter. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like I thought
you were gonna say something else. Like,
yeah. But no, I'm not a fighter. So like, I'm always like, to me, fighting was always like, you can't talk to me. Like me and you can't sit here and have a disagreement because you're not smart enough to rebuttal what I'm saying. And so now you want to put your hands on me.
Oh wow,
So that's how I've always felt.
So physicality overcame mentality.
Right. So like you felt like you weren't mentally strong enough.
So you gotta
had
fucking
to show
hit me.
my physical nature. So like I wish I was more like you in the sense of like because I never developed I feel like I'm a man. I could defend myself if I need to, but I've never like felt like I had to defend myself, and you did. So like the way I grew up, the way I defended myself was with my words. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I didn't really have nobody physically putting their hands on me. So I imagine that if I did, I would be more like you in that sense. But I like that it's like you have a balance of like, because, all right, for instance, like my son only knows intellectual war, like debate. So like all he knows from me is like, we're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to spar intellectually.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Verbally.
And so like
intellectually.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
That's
we're going to spar that way. And it's dope that like you coming from someone that wasn't given that opportunity, like you had to take the hands, you had to take the lumps.
Straight up.
But to move forward with your son and spar with him intellectually, mm-hmm. and like be like, we can win with our words.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't work, then I can show you how to win other means.
That's right.
That's dope that you have that balance. You know what I'm saying? Like, you probably know it. Like it's better to be a warrior and a gardener in a garden than to be a gardener in a war.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I'm
right.
saying?
That's
Like,
right.
Like
Real
that's
shit. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
I think you have a healthy balance of like being that warrior in a garden all the time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yeah. So that's some Shango shit. So that's like an old African proverb. Like that's kind of like the same sentiment.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense, man. So boxing, like, has it helped you reach kids in a way that you wish you would have been reached?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started this journey with helping out the youth and teaching youth boxing. I think it was in 09.
You got any dogs with you?
I got 4 belts. 4 belts in North Charleston. People got to come to North Charleston. Well, actually, it's too late now because they're all grown. But
Yeah.
But
But they was some dogs.
yeah, they got belts.
Oh, that's
right
what's up,
now.
man.
And then like so right now we're looking. I'm scouting a few pro fighters, and I have a few fights coming up that are available for people that I suggest in Detroit and Miami. And this
So
could
what's
be-
what's your proudest moment as a boxer? Part A of the question. And what's your proudest moment as a coach of boxing?
So both are the same. And
Oh,
the
cool.
answer
Okay.
is to win the fight without fighting.
Mm.
On some Bruce Lee shit.
I like that.
Because you don't really have to physically hit or strike someone to win a fight. And honestly, it's a little bit harder to win.
Intellectual sparring,
there you
people.
go, my dude. I ain't had to sit. There you go. So, and that's ultimately where we need to be. Now, there are some instances where we have to fight physical with physical.
Yeah.
You're just not. I'm not to turn the other cheek, and I'm not the. The Bible says something else. Not only turn the other cheek, but an eye for an eye.
Eye for an eye. Dust your sandals off.
So I'm not, and I'm both, and I don't want to say I'm more one than the other, but motherfucker, if you hit me, I'm hitting you back. Like, I'm gonna get my leg back.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
See, I wish I had more of that in me, man. I tell like, if you go talk to my son right now, I swear, bro. I swear, strike me dead. If you ask my son right now, hey, man, your dad told me to ask you, what's he regret most in his life? He'll be like, not punching more people in the mouth.
yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
There was like so many people throughout my
Even
life.
if you lose, fuck it.
Yeah. And there was so many people in my life that just deserved it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure you heard a
bro,
lot
I went,
of shit, dude.
dude. I went and picked up. Like, this is so random, but this is one time that like I should have done something. Like I still feel like.
You feel like that woulda, coulda, shoulda shit.
I mean,
man,
I just feel like
right now.
I feel
don't
like
do
they
it
talk
like that.
about.
Don't do that.
I
though.
know, but
Don't
it's
do
so
that.
bad, bro.
Don't do
I was
that.
leaving Wendy's. I picked up food for the family. I'm trying to turn out of the parking lot, and it was like I was trying to get in the middle lane, but the first car was letting me pull out, and the other dude, it was like train tracks with the red light.
Yeah.
And the guy in the second lane
right in the creek.
wasn't really paying attention, and I pulled out and I got in front of him, and I had to immediately stop, and he like blew the horn at me. I don't think he saw me coming out, but there was no like problem. Like, I got in, nothing was like I didn't
Right.
cut him off or nothing.
He
like
didn't have
that.
to hit his
We're all-
brakes and screech
nothing.
out and
We're all
shit.
stopped.
Right.
He blows his horn at me or whatever, and I'm like, whatever, man. And like, I don't think he was like a younger guy. He had a younger lady with him. And I kind of looked in the rear view and I saw him talking shit about me to the girls, like, and I was like, dude, I kind of put my hand on and do nothing, And I start looking back, and then I look in the rear view again and I see him like tap the girl, and he leans out his window and he's just like, and spits a loogie on the back of my truck.
Oh damn!
You know what I mean? And like, it's,
Come on, man.
yeah, bro, it's spit. You know what I mean? Like,
That's
it's just-
assault in South Carolina. If you spit on me, that's assault.
Well, he
I can
didn't
whip
spit
your ass.
on me. He spit on my
prop-
vehicle, on my
hey,
property.
hey,
I don't know.
hey.
Like, I didn't want to get into that, but he had his window down. You know what I'm saying? Like, in my mind, I was like, I got out of the car. I walked back there and I just punched him through his window and slumped him next to his girlfriend.
Right.
I got my truck and drove off at the green light, and it was awesome. But what happened in reality was I didn't do anything. I drove home, got out the car, and this one, the first time my son ever heard those words. I came inside, I gave everybody the food. I just like set the food down. They're like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Son, you know the only thing I regret in my life?" Like I went straight into it. Like I went straight to my son. He was like, What's wrong, Dad?" I was like, punching people in the mouth. Some people deserve that shit. Like you're like me, son. Like you think you could just talk through things and you could just talk to people and we'll come to a understanding. But sometimes people are fucking stupid.
Oh yeah.
And you can't come to an agreement with these dumb motherfuckers. Like you said, like physicality is required
that's
right now.
only what people understand.
Yeah, that's all they understand.
It's
and
unfortunate,
like,
but true.
for people that are like intellectual, we can't understand that shit. Like
that's beyond us.
That's
like, why
what
are you physically trying to hurt somebody? And not to say that you're, but it's like for real though. You ain't gotta go through all that, Baba. Like it's really, really an intellectual thing where you really do not have to insert or interject or strike someone else. You could literally not say anything, right? Like what you did, and that's okay, because there's no wrong way to live your life,
right?
And regret is not something that you want to do.
No.
So
what Jay-Z say? Gotta learn to live with regrets. I'm not trying to learn
right.
no more.
That's
I'm
right.
tired
On Reasonable
of
Doubt, baby.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
tired
that
of
shit.
learning though. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm
tired of learning to live with them. Like I'm just not trying to have no more, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, no
come
more
to the
regrets.
boxing gym.
Like
Go to the gym. Or let's go to the firing range, whatever.
Well, I feel like we stuck on the boxing for a long time, but like we were talking about intellectual sparring, mental sparring. So like, is that kind of, cause like I love your poetry and I love your style, and I feel like a lot of times that's kind of how you're coming at it, bro. You're just like you're
I'm hitting you.
Yeah, like we was talking earlier. Well, every time I tell you, bro, that life's knife getting sharper by the hour. Like the way you come in, bro. Like you're just like, I don't know, man. It literally is like watching like Pacquiao or Mayweather. Just like the way you weave and you just like, and you suck people in. Like it's like what is it called? What do they call boxing? The beautiful science or the
art? What hit not get a hit?
Yeah, but they call it the I can't remember. Like we'll think about it. We'll come back to it. Like
fighting.
Yeah, but it's like the beautiful, the sexy science, the beautiful science, the parry, like you have a way of like lulling people with your poetry where you're just like oh, this is safe. Like this is a safe poem. This poem like this poem kind of feels like I feel, and then all of a sudden it's like.
Right.
Bam,
right, out of nowhere, you're like Black Power, motherfucker.
Yeah,
like,
not even that. Just like, make me want to cheat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
You make me wanna do this. You know what I'm saying? Like you thought I was like, It's I guess because I like it because it's like how I feel. Like I write poetry where I'm like, please just understand what I'm saying. Like understand this stuff. Like. Yeah. I'm not saying I don't, but like I wish I could be more in your face like you are. You know what I'm saying? I love that shit. I just love the angst. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's dope for me to finally like. Because I've known you for a long time and we've had many just long, dope conversations. Yeah. But I feel like we go on such tangents that we don't ever get to like roots a lot of times.
Or anywhere.
We don't get any fucking way. But I like that like tonight I got to really like understand where you're coming from, because it just opened my eyes to so much, because it's like you're that dude that like you're the rose that grew from concrete, bro.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And like I feel like a lot of us poets are, and some of us aren't.
Well, I mean, I think maybe even everybody on a wider perspective to broaden our horizons. Everybody got a story.
Yeah. Well, you're not a poet without a story, man.
Right.
But it's dope to like hear like you because I feel like your poetry's rooted. It's cool because like I feel like your poetry's rooted in this, like we have the same root of our poetry, but because like we were planted and like your tree went this way and my tree went that way, so like I don't know, it's like an alpha omega type of vibe where like
that's a good way to put it.
I'm gonna give it to you calm, cool, collected, and I'm gonna hope you hope you catch on and you find out like we're I guess we're gonna meet the same destination with our poetry.
Absolutely.
Like you're gonna open somebody's mind. You're gonna give them. You're gonna take them on the ride, and you're gonna make them feel the pain. But I'm gonna invite them to feel the pain, and you're gonna force them to feel it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
we both end up at the same
spot.
destination.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, that real shit.
But it's like it's just cool.
Yeah.
Like it's cool to see that contrast of styles that. It seems so contrasted, but in the end, it's like
same.
it's the same.
Yeah. Your
Yeah,
delivery is
but
fucking badass.
I appreciate that, bro. Like it's tough sometimes because I feel like I'm so abstract. I talked about Joey with this before too, but I feel
Joey
like
T.
I feel like my style is like so unorthodox that I don't know. I think a lot of times it helps me because people are just like, oh man, it's like so out of left field and breaking up the monotony so much.
Yeah,
that,
for real.
that, like you don't have no choice but
And then
to
the
just
look,
like
the presence,
appreciate
everything.
it.
You're
Right.
you're packaged differently. But when you go up there, when you're speaking a poem about your mom, or when you're speaking a poem about your wife, you know, like it's really, really the lyricist part of it, or even beyond that, you have many poems. All them shit dope. The life lessons that you spit in your poetry, the way it's delivered is accepted and received by the people who cannot receive me.
I said this just recently.
So like,
And it's like such facts, bro. Like I told Joey the same thing you're saying. It's just like sometimes it's hard because it's like sometimes you could just scream into the abyss or scream and like the frequency thing too is just like a poem is nothing without ears, you know what I'm saying? A voice doesn't matter without ears, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you have to like I can talk to you all day, I could preach to you all day, but if you're not understanding the
Right.
message, then it doesn't reach you.
it doesn't.
But
No, it doesn't.
but before we get on a tangent about like the styles, because like I think that's why me and you have been homies for so long, and we've done so much stuff together because we both appreciate each other's art so much. But I really want your fans and the people to figure out like what got you into poetry. Is it the same thing that got you into boxing?
Yeah.
Is it like from pain and
Yeah.
those was two different outlets? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same answer
Right.
as before.
Well, that's how
So-
I felt, but I just wanted you to say it because that's how I kind of felt. Because the way you talk about your upbringing, the way you talk about boxing, the way you talk about your kid, like everything that you basically talk about is the same things that like led me to poetry. So I was like, we're building it up, but I know that like all that is what makes you a great poet. You know what I'm
Word.
saying? Like I don't even. It's hard for me to ask you like what got you into poetry after you telling me all that shit because if you ain't got the gist yet,
Right,
like,
motherfucker, for real.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's so poetry. I use as also a therapeutic outlet, but specifically within poetry and my poems, it's not me, dude. I'm just a fucking vessel.
yeah.
That shit come through me, bruh. I write poems. You seen it? I
Yeah.
write poems in 2 minutes, no minutes.
Right.
So that can't be Carlos thinking and cognitively putting words in a sentence.
No.
This has to come from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the shit that we make it maybe more forceful or more, let's say, hearful for others in a different tone because it's the frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are more tuned into your delivery,
Yeah.
while others are more, not say tuned into mine, but you can't, as long as you can hear my voice, you have no choice but to hear what I'm saying.
Dropping bars.
And I only speak facts or things that will enlighten or help others, even if it's constructive criticism.
Yeah.
And a lot of, like, even to my girl, man, she feel like, oh, you're down, you belittling me. I'm like, no, baby, listen, no, you're looking at it from the wrong perspective. I would never belittle the woman that I am engaged with, let's say intimately, sexually, conversationally.
Right.
I'm only trying to build you and make you better. So when I speak of something, you may take it from you may receive it negatively, but it's not coming from a negative heart.
Yeah.
You gotta understand, constructive criticism is, I feel like, something that will help people, but in today's world, constructive criticism does the complete opposite, and it makes them shut down, and it makes them not care about you, and it makes them think that you're an asshole, and they'll never fucking open up to you again, and you're a piece of shit. Yeah. But really, it's like, bro, I grew up in a fucking abusive house, motherfucker. If I didn't move my fucking head, I would be bleeding.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So constructive criticism to me was exactly what I needed that nobody delivered.
Yeah, you needed tough love, and so
yeah.
It's hard though because
tough love, but I love it though because it made whatchamacallit, pressure either bust pipe or make a diamond.
That's it. You want to be a pipe or a diamond, baby.
Damn right. You want to be a broken up ass pipe or a shiny blinking diamond.
You want to be a shiny diamond, man. Shine bright like a diamond. Hey,
Rihanna,
my girl Rihanna. How'd you like that?
God
you like that?
Her. I love her. I love Rihanna.
You like the Super Bowl show?
I love ASAP too, but I kind of hate because I love Rihanna. No, I'm stop. Let me stop. No,
you thought the halftime show was pretty dope though.
I really do because it was innovative. It was one of a kind. I've never seen anybody in the halftime show go up in the air and all that shit.
Yeah.
So the halftime show was actually more entertaining.
I thought it was dope, man. She had. I mean, Rihanna's got bangers, bro.
Damn, I love some Rihanna.
I don't care if you white, black, old, young, Asian,
Islander,
Hispanic,
American, Russian, Ukrainian,
Island, whatever,
Congolian,
Barbados, whatever you are, man. Like you vibing out to some Rihanna. I had a great time.
That girl, big forehead, be having me in a
like
trance.
Everybody else. I wish.
Oh shit.
I'm like everybody else. I wish like she would have brought Drake out or Jay-Z, but
she didn't need to.
She didn't need to. No, absolutely.
The point was
every halftime show can't turn it into like
features.
Let's see who you can bring. You know what I mean? Like before we know it, somebody will be Quavo will be up there and have Ric Flair come out and just going woo. We don't need all that. You know what I mean? Dwayne The Rock Johnson be out there like, hey, this is Kevin Hart, and Kevin Hart come out like, wait a second, we got Snoop Dogg coming.
I'm so short. Right. So I do feel like Rihanna did not need a counterpart or a feature on that.
Absolutely not,
thing.
Man. She's like,
I think that she really, really deserved that solo feature, but also for the general wealth that she created in that moment.
Right. Yeah, she made a statement, man.
Yeah.
And I like how Charlemagne put it. He was just like,
that my dude, man. Charlemagne, man. What's up, man?
Yeah, what's up, Charlemagne? But I like how he put it. He was like, Rihanna's always the coolest person in the room, man. Like that's like
she's so
like people
sexy.
get
how can you
but people get bent up on like her performance or this or that. But some people just have like that just swag, man. They just cool, man.
Yeah, as
like
soon as you
it
walk
doesn't
in the
matter
room,
what they do, like,
right?
Yeah.
And as soon as they walk in the room, you don't even have to see them or even look
like,
over there. I know that
cool.
bitch here. You know what I'm saying? That's real shit. So yeah,
man. We've talked about the poetry, we've talked about the boxing, we've talked about the life, we talked about all kinds of things in between, man. But you're a man of many capes, man, and I know that you're also a business owner. So, like, would you like to tell people what kind of business you run, and also for other people that are trying to run businesses, like what's some do's and don'ts of that type of world as well?
Okay, so first of all, guys, ladies and gentlemen, everybody in the world, internet world, web wide, I was always an entrepreneur. I was never really stuck in the frame of working someone else's occupation or working for someone else as an occupation, even though I did. I love myself enough to know that if someone's swinging at me, I have to move. I love myself enough to know that if somebody else is writing my check, I'm not the boss. So I know that in business, there are some things that we will come into contact with that we really have no control over. So, with all that said, if you are an entrepreneur or business owner, It's the same thing as the foster kid that didn't have any friends or that just got taken away from his family. Believe in yourself. And that's the strongest thing out here, and that's the most that's the most smartest or knowledgeable or intellectual thing I can say is always and forever believe in yourself.
I love it. That's what I tell people all the time, man. You know, like I said, this podcast is about growth, and like, it touches home with me where earlier, because first of all, like you said, believe in yourself, but it hits home with me earlier when you were like, I just when I asked you about being a foster kid, like, what's one thing that you wish you would have heard or somebody would have said to you, and you were like, I believe in you,
Right?
and that's what I started this podcast for, because if nobody ever told you, brother, I believe in you.
Cut the shit, man.
I swear. And that's why I started this podcast, was to tell people like you that are dope human beings that I see grinding, that I see putting in that work, that I see not only putting it in
dope.
for themselves, but pouring into other people.
Yeah.
So I can't end this podcast without telling you I believe in you, brother.
Damn
and I
it.
will always believe in you.
Motherfucker.
So I feel you on that 100%, because it's, bruh, I do.
That shit mean a lot, bro.
Hey, see what I'm saying?
For
like
real.
that's what I want this podcast to feel like. I want it to be like. I want people to tune in and just feel like we're dropping jewels for y'all, man.
Yeah,
we believe in y'all. Like, if you don't believe in yourself, start,
Right.
because we believe in you. We
We
believe
do.
in what you're doing, man. Like, whatever it is, bro. As long as it's positive and you're trying to help other people and help yourself mainly, I believe in you, man. I believe you're going to make it. I believe you're going to do what you set out to do, man. Set goals. You could be a boxing coach.
Yep.
You can
And
come,
be a poet.
You can,
Muhammad Ali did it.
bro, you can come from foster care. You can come from getting abused by your father. You can come from sticking up for your mother and your sisters. You can come from the bottom, and you can host poetry shows. You can raise children. You can raise new and strong fathers and sons and husbands and brothers, and also strong daughters that are there and strong for themselves. You can become an entrepreneur. You can become a business owner. You can do all those things that you want to do. So I'm definitely very appreciative to know you. I'm very appreciative to have you on, man. And I feel like you dropped a lot of gems tonight, bro.
Man.
And so we're definitely gonna have Los back on, man. Like I said, this is Los the host.
Peace.
You know, the Speak Freely Foundation. We didn't even talk about that, but
Yeah, so
we can
much.
talk about it, man. I want to have him as a reoccurring guest, man, because him and I, man, you get on that frequency, as he would say, and things just flow out, man. They feel good, and he's such a positive dude, man. And I feel like he opened up and showed y'all that you can come from just some of the wildest and most
Fucked up situations.
I wasn't gonna use them colorful words, but fucked up situation. I was gonna say something eloquent, but hey, that's the best way to put it,
Real
man.
shit,
You can come
yeah.
from the most fucked up situations, bro, and you can make something from yourself, man.
Absolutely.
And we can attest to that. So, as I always say, man, think harder, work smarter, and if you wanted to grow, just add water. It's my boy Los the host. Thank you for tuning in. The Water Pod.
Peace.
The last one, I love that something about us. Another melody.